Fling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamp. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His day is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is lifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Our God is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. While God is marching on.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. As we mark a true freedom fighter, Frederick Douglass, this week, we have to acknowledge another freedom fighter who was inspired by the leaders of the past. But unfortunately, history has completely forgotten about him. A few weeks ago, I spoke on schools needing to teach about all history, not just what they want students to learn about, and that is true. Today's video is about a man that most of the general public doesn't know about but should be remembered and celebrated just as much as Dr. King, Rosa Parks, or Frederick Douglass. I'm speaking about the founder of the Second Independent Living Center, Atlantis Community, and its sister organization, ADAPT. Wade Blank should be a name that everybody, both with and without disabilities, should recognize, but most unfortunately don't. Wade was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and went to college in Kent State, Ohio. While there, his roommate dared him to go to a march organized by Dr. King. This was what ultimately led him to a life of service. he became a Presbyterian minister, a war on poverty organizer, and a disciple of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. After college, he moved to the state of Colorado and got a job working at the nursing home named Heritage House, starting with recruiting young people with disabilities to live there, and started a youth wing. They said, "You're young. You're hip. Could you start the youth wing for us?" He was hired in December of 1971. Back then, if you were physically disabled, the only way you could get services is if you were institutionalized, which is a violation of civil rights, according to the 1999 Supreme Court Olmstead decision, which said that people should be in the most integrated setting possible, and unjustifiable institutionalization is discrimination. Once he got all the beds filled, Wade was promoted to activity director. These events was the inspiration for the made-for-television movie When You Remember Me, starring Fred Savage as Mike Mills and Kevin Spacey as Wade Black. He recalled that it was starting to resemble a college fraternity house more than a strict nursing home. He used the word dormitory, but I think it was more of a fraternity house on any Friday or Saturday night than anything. He got televisions and radios in all the rooms as well as pets. He wanted to change the system from within rather than breaking it from the outside. Unfortunately, you can't do that, and using Wade's words, quote, "I didn't understand the monster that I worked for," unquote. In 1975, Wade wanted to move people out into their own apartments and have the aides and the orderlies punch in at the nursing home and go to the client's apartment to give them service. In the movie one night, Wade and his group went to a Grateful Dead concert. In the movie, on their way home from the concert, one of the people on the trip became unresponsive, and they rushed him to the hospital. The nursing home administration first suspended Wade because of this incident before firing him, knowing full well that this was not his fault. Wade recalled, quote, that once he was fired, the nursing home erased all of his reforms. They took the radios and televisions out of everybody's rooms, took all the pets and sent them to the dog pound, and erased all of his reforms. Now, Wade could have just washed his hands and moved on with his life. However, he didn't. Thinking to himself, "I recruited all these people to this hell," he decided to move them out and do the care himself. That exodus laid the foundation for the second independent living center in the United States, Atlantis Community, in Denver, and its sister organization, ADAPT. As Atlantis was getting people out of institutions, America's Disabled for Accessible Public Transit was trying to get lifts on buses so people in wheelchairs can ride the bus. They won it in 1990 with the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. They then moved on to home and community services. I went to a summer camp out in Colorado for a number of years for children with disabilities who use communication devices. For the first year, when I was at camp, my parents went to Atlantis and met Wade. Unfortunately, Wade died when he tried to save his son, Lincon, in a tragic drowning accident, months before I would have met him. For me personally, I think it is tragic that I only could hear stories, not have my own memories of Wade and Lincon. At the time of the accident, Lincon was just a child, only 8 years old. I love the story of him officiating the wedding of Jimmy and Eric, two gay/trans men and members of ADAPT, showing what a real minister of the gospel should be, one that fights against bigotry and discrimination in all its forms. His actions and his ideas helped me live independently and free. As African American History Month comes to a close, we have to remember all the heroes of every movement and the struggle for civil rights. If you want to see Wade Blank's 1993 memorial celebration, I will leave a link to it in the description below. My question of the day is this: if you knew Wade, what is your memories of him? And if you are like me, who didn't get to meet him, what would you like to say to him? For me, I would just simply say, thank you. I would like to close this video with reciting the first verse of the Battle Hymn of the Republic in memory of Wade and Lincon Blank. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. Ye have loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword, his truth, marching on. Thank you. Don't forget to like this video, and if you are new, hit the subscribe button. I will see you next week.